Let's beat the heat. Hey friends, I'm Dr. Gold. I am talking about this important illness or condition, heat exhaustion, or God forbid, heat stroke, because I've actually seen it, witnessed it for several people in my life, patients, but also just being out and about. I live in Florida and it's really hot here. And it's easy. It can happen so quickly. My dad actually almost died from heat stroke. It was the Pepsi challenge. It was 1982. I remember this because my dad was trying to win a medal for my mom. It was their wedding anniversary. And he had this drink called No Thirst. And he thought it'd be a great idea to drink it because it doesn't make you thirsty. So you can bypass all the water stops. Problem was it was near Columbia University. It was about 106 degrees that day in New York. And my dad was running really fast. All he remembers, the last thing he remembers, is running up this hill. And he literally just went down fairly quickly. And thank God the medics were there. They got him. He got an IV and everything. And he was in the hospital for 6 days. He said the most rest he's had in a long time. But thankfully he had his life and he lived and got rid of that drink, the powder, I should say, No Thirst. They soon took that off the market. But it is important to pay attention because as we age, our thirst receptors can go down and you may not feel the urge to drink water. Once you do feel thirsty, that's actually a late sign. So make sure to hydrate early and often. I always recommend to folks plan ahead. So if you know you're going to a barbecue outside or a beach outing or a parade or whatever it is, to have your electrolytes. And the reason the electrolytes are important, those are the nutrients that go into the cells. It helps penetrate into those cells. So if you just have water, it's important, that's good, but if it can go through you a lot quickly. When we're outside, we're sweating, we're losing salt, sodium, chloride. We need to replenish that and we need to get that into our cells. We need to provide those minerals back in. So good electrolytes like coconut water. I'm a big fan. I use Emergen-C because it has a vitamin C as well, which can boost the immune system. But really important to have those available. I just keep the packs. They're easy to find. They're in many different stores. And I just keep a few packs in my fanny pack or my pocket and then just add it to water. Sometimes I'll just have it ahead of time if I'm competing in a race. So have it ready so you can just drink. Now, obviously, there's the Gatorades and the other stuff that's out there. Just be mindful of the dyes in Gatorade and be mindful if they have high fructose corn syrup. We know it's not good for you, but it's better to have that than nothing. So if you're really feeling dehydrated, there's nothing else available. Of course, you can use those types of drinks. They have some without those dyes, which I highly recommend, especially if you suffer with ADD or autism, because some of these dyes can affect our attention, our focus, but also there's some links to higher risk, possibly for serious conditions like cancers and stuff like that. Again, they're links, they're not causation, but why increase our risks? And more chemicals we know can disrupt our hormones as well. The other part with hydration is making sure that you have the water bottles or the water with you. And then also if you're overheated, if you're wearing a heavy hat, of course, take it off, but try to go into the shade, try to get out of the heat when possible. And if you really are feeling really overheated, douse yourself. If you have cold water, of course, use some cold water over the head, back of the neck. These are where big blood vessels are closer to the surface. If someone is really overheated, putting some ice packs in the armpit area, the groin, and then again, back of the neck, if it's safe to do so. And of course, call 911 if anybody is in serious conditions, if they really are not sweating and it's really hot outside, if they can't pee, or if you have a young child and the urine is really dark, those are signs of dehydration. If they're feeling a little lightheaded, nauseous, dizzy, tired, all those signs, don't wait. It's actually better to get some help, medical attention when needed, because the longer you wait, you really, especially with heat stroke, you just have minutes. Every minute counts. You really want to get them hydrated as fast as possible. And if they need an IV of fluids, of course, you want to get that to them quickly. But my whole message about this is it can be prevented, again, through good planning. Wear light colored clothing. Remember to dress in layers. I usually try to stay out of the shade. Sometimes you can't because everything is open. So I'll have an umbrella with me for shade. Or again, if you're really overheated, and you need to go into your car, put the AC on, or go to a place that has AC or a cooler area, please do that for yourself. It's not worth getting overheated. And just speak up. I know sometimes we get embarrassed. We don't want to say anything, like, oh, we're here to enjoy. It's a birthday party, or it's this or that event. It's okay. It's better that you don't pass out. We went to one event in Tarpon Springs, and the woman was giving a dance class, and she was older, and she was doing one dance class after the other, and I saw she was not drinking water. And these were long dance classes and a lot of good energy, but she was just going. And I was like, she was overly sweating, and you could just see it. And the sweat is your body's normal way to cool itself down, but she was not replenishing all that fluids that she was actually losing. So she went down. Thankfully, we were there. We caught her, and we called 911. But yeah, she did not feel good. She vomited. She was so embarrassed. I actually bought a dress just right before I came to that event, and I gave her my dress. I was like, it's okay. We changed because we didn't want her to just feel so uncomfortable. But the best thing, honestly, if somebody is overheated, you do safely, in a good way, just remove any heavy clothing and put those ice packs. That's what we did for her until the ambulance came. But really important, again, take care of that person so they can feel better and get immediate help. Call 911, seek immediate attention if they're, out of it or just they don't look good. So it's always best to be cautious with this, because this is a very serious condition if it's moving from heat exhaustion to heat stroke. And I think and the last one was alcohol. So, and I know it's like, don't take away my wine, Dr. Gold. And I'm never telling you to, but it can make you more sensitive to the sun. And the other part with alcohol, it is a toxin to the liver. Doesn't mean you can't have some every so often, as long as there's no problem, you're not addicted to it, or have, not an alcoholic, or have a condition where, you can't just have one drink. But the idea is, if you're going to drink alcohol, remember it can dehydrate you. It makes you pee or urinate. And the problem with that is you're losing fluid. So if you're just drinking alcohol, you're not eating, you're not hydrating with water, that's where the detriment can lie, especially if you're out in the sun, and then your sun could be even more sensitive to the sun. So best thing I always suggest, hydrate first, make sure you eat something, have food in your stomach, and then just pace yourself. It's okay to have some water. And if you really, I don't drink anymore, right? So it's okay to have a mocktail, have some other drinks. You don't have to tell anybody, but your friends want to support you. So, and honestly, sometimes you can be a nidus for change among your friends. We know sometimes alcohol can age us. It can increase our risk, even one drink, especially in women, their risk for breast cancer. So it has some detriment. It because of the alcohol dehydrogenase, which is what alcohol breaks down into, that can be a cause for higher risk for the cancers. And I mentioned breast cancer, but other cancers as well. We know GI cancers like gut cancers, gastric cancers are serious, of course, and then bleeding ulcers and all the other things. And it can affect the brain, so especially over long haul. So again, if you're drinking in excess, this is where we can have problems to the brain, have problems to the liver, and a lot of different organs to the heart. This is not a good thing. And remember, there's no guidelines that recommend starting a drinking program if you don't drink. But if it's one drink for women a day or 2 drinks for men, and they're even looking at that, because that 1 drink a day for women possibly can increase the risk. There's some studies of breast cancer. So just be mindful. And again, if you're doing this every so often, maybe you're just on special occasions a few times a year, it's probably okay, especially checking the functions of your organs and everything is functioning well. That's the important part. But I would never say, again, to start drinking if you don't. And if you does it, for me, it actually makes me so tired. So that's why I don't do much of that. But on like certain holidays, sometimes I'll just have a sip. And again, listen to your body. Don't do anything you're not comfortable, but remember, you're in charge of you. You get to decide what you do. So Dr. Gold, the Dr. Gold's Optimal Living Institute, just remember your health matters. Toodles! Mwah!